Let's go.
Ready? Good morning. My name is Thomas Clemens, and on behalf of the Chamber of Southwest Louisiana and the Economic Development Alliance, I want to welcome you to the first of four symposiums we're going to be doing this month in October in conjunction with National Disability Awareness, Employment Awareness Month. And I'm coming to you as a moderator in my capacity as chair of the Task Force of Diversity and Inclusion. This is the first one. In this first meeting, we are proud to have represented by the Office of Families Helping Families, Mr. Wallace Johnson. Just to give you some background on Mr. Johnson is somewhat of a profile in courage and has dedicated his career to helping others with disabilities. In 2011, he was honored as the recipient of the Louisiana Governor's Office of Disability Affairs, Ken Vince Memorial Award, which is presented to a man with disabilities recognized for his leadership abilities and achievements as a disability advocate. Mr. Johnson serves on the Regional Advisory Committee for the Imperial Calcasieu Human Services Authority, Developmental Disabilities Division. He's a member on the People First of Southwest Louisiana State Board of Directors, and he's currently employed at Families Helping Families of Southwest Louisiana. Welcome, Mr. Wallace. We're glad to have you, and we'll give you a chance before we start the Q&A just to give you an opportunity to provide some opening remarks.
Welcome, everyone. Families Helping Families is glad for this opportunity to be here. And like Mr. Thomas Clemens said, I'm Wallace Johnson. And so thank you for the honor and privilege to be a part of this National Disability Awareness Month event.
Okay, just give us a little background on your organizations and tell us about some of the goals of the Families Helping Families.
Families Helping Families has been in existence since 1992. We're part of a statewide network of family-directed family resource centers. And what we do is our mission is to enable and empower individuals with disabilities and their families by providing information, referral, education, training, peer support, and advocacy skills. It's our vision that all individuals with disabilities have the opportunity to attend school, live, work, and play in their own community. So each of the larger cities in Louisiana in the different regions have a Families Helping Families Resource Center. We're kind of like a one-stop shop for all things disability related in each center. So our centers, what we mean by family oriented, family driven, they truly are. And what we mean by that is our board of directors is made up of 51% of people with disabilities or parents of children with disabilities. So the population we serve is individuals with disabilities and their family. So this helps us fulfill our mission and keep families at heart. So we can say that we're a family-driven, family-focused agency.
Okay, and would you expound a little bit about your role in Families Helping Families?
My role at Families Helping Families, I'm an education support specialist. So what I do is I work with students that are in the school system to help them when they have disability issues or disability concerns as it pertains to their education. We have a contract with the Louisiana Department of Education that allows us to support the families and parents that have children and students in school. And we provide training, we provide one-on-one assistance. We support them by providing information about the services and things that they could utilize to help in the school system to be able to have a better outcome through the school system when they have a disability.
Okay, and I think I have somewhat an advantage over some of our listeners out there because a few years ago I had the pleasure, honor rather, to serve on the Governor's Advisory Committee on Disability Affairs. And at that time, I got a real education as to what some of these organizations such as yours do, but a lot of people might not be aware of. Could you just speak to some of how you guys get funded and things along those lines, how you secure your resources?
We have state contracts. We have that do various different functions and things that fund different programs through Families Help Families. So we get a lot of our support through that. And we also do our own fundraisers and seek out funding through fundraisers and funding events. Because as you know, when you get a grant applies for specific things. And so sometimes you need to have other resources or other sources to supplement what the grant doesn't cover. And so that's where our board of directors does it on fundraising and different things like that to offset, that. And then the community, we get support from the community. We're a community agency, and so we receive support from the community to help with different things. So that helps bring the cost down also.
Okay, do you have a what we might call any signature fundraising event?
So, repeat the question again.
Do you have a signature fundraising event? Events that you'd like to make the community aware of that Family Helping Families put on annually?
Okay, we do have annual events, but COVID-19 has kind of caused us to, postpone those. So right now we haven't had one in, if I remember right, at least 2 years.
Okay.
But we haven't, our annual golf tournament. That's something that we put on every year, and the golf tournament helps fund some of the programs that, at Families Help Families. And then we get, like I said, we get support from the community.
Okay.
The community through different agencies and organizations and support, they also help fund us. So it just balances out.
Okay. And that's a nice segue to the next question I want to ask about. I know that you brought up the pandemic, but also we know in here in our area in Southwest Louisiana, we've also been through a series of disasters as well. What challenges has that presented the organization as far as finding clients and obtaining employment for your clients?
It is a challenge with all the disasters, the hurricanes, the freeze, the pandemic. It does make it hard because people with disabilities, a lot of them have challenges. Mm-hmm. So it's sometimes just a challenge to get out. And then there's challenges with not only that, your disability may pose a challenge, but then there's programs and things that can kind of help with that and assistive technology. So there's usually a way around it or help or assistance. So if a person's struggling to get out for employment, there's usually programs and things that can help. And Families Help Families can point individuals to those programs so that they can hopefully get out and obtain employment. Transportation's a big issue too. We have transportation in Southwest Louisiana that can help, and we share that information about the systems in Louisiana in our area that help with transportation, like the city bus line, the paratransit, and then the different, the Calcasieu Parish Transit, things like that people could utilize to get to work.
And you brought up assistive technologies. I've been fortunate enough to kind of view some of the assistive technologies that are presented for people with disabilities. Could you elaborate on some of the assistive technology that you find helpful to your constituents?
It could be anything from as simple as a pencil grip, or maybe if they're using a wheelchair and the desk is too low and it needs to be higher, where then they can put blocks or bricks or something to raise the desk. So some of the assistive technology doesn't have to cost a whole lot.
Yeah.
There's an agency we refer people to. It's another nonprofit agency that can help with assistive technology. It's called LATAN, Louisiana
Yes,
Assistive.
and I'm glad you brought up LATAN. LATAN they bend over backwards, just like your organization does for serving people with disabilities. And as I said, I've had the pleasure of visiting their offices, and they gladly want to demonstrate
Mhm.
type of assistive technologies that they have available, which they have a lot of resources, specialized phones to help people hear better, a different type of technology like that. And it's just good to see it. I think it would be good for employers to be made aware that with the American Disabilities Act, a lot of employers realize that you have to go to a certain extent to make reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities. But there's also agencies like yours and like Latan that are willing to help employees, them understand that uh,
Right.
reasonable accommodations is just that, it's reasonable, and they will
Mhm.
help you take it to the next level.
And I would say this to an employer, if they're a little hesitant about hiring someone with a disability, you know, because of what the things that they may need to maybe work at their agency,
Mm-hmm.
to ask them, you know, because chances are they may have the accommodations at home that they can bring to work to
Yeah.
use to be able to be at work, or they may have something simple. Say, hey, I
Mm-hmm.
utilize this and it doesn't really cost a whole lot. So, and if it does, if they have something that does, then maybe they could get it through LATAN, Louisiana Assistive Technology Access Network, or
Mm-hmm.
through Louisiana Rehabilitation Services.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may be able to help. Or if it's hearing devices and things like that, then there's the Louisiana Commission for the Deaf. You know, and there's also the independent centers that Louisiana has. And in our area, we have the Southwest Louisiana Independent Center. So they can go there for that type of assistance as well for the hearing devices and things like that.
That's the agency Mitch Granger runs, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. They do excellent work, and I think that uh, to me, Disability Awareness Month need to be every month. But the fact of the matter is, early in the year when we were trying to talk about, we wanted to do some things in person like everybody else. We had some live events that we were contemplating, but at the same time there was a lot of uncertainty. And then that latest surge came about, and we realized we had to go digital. We still thought it was important to go about bringing some awareness to it because it's a group that deserve to have awareness brought to them. I don't know if a lot of employees are not aware, and I guess because I'm in the employment business, so to speak, that people with disabilities, for the most part, they're very reliable. Well, can you speak to that?
Uh, I'm a testimony to that. I mean, I've been working, you know, since college. You know, I attended college in the late '80s and early '90s. You know, and I received support from Louisiana Rehabilitation Services to be able to go to college. You know, as a person with a disability, you know, Louisiana Rehabilitation Service has helped with some of my funding that I needed for college. So people can look to that state agency for help. And so I went to them, got assistance, and went to college, got a degree. They also help with if you're trying to find employment, they can help you with that, give you some leads or whatever to tell you where to go to look for a job or different things like that. There's a lot of support that agency does that can help a person with a disability find employment. And so
What about basic skills like resume writing? Do you assist people with disabilities with that?
we've done workshops and trainings in the past on that,
Mm-hmm.
about resume writing, interview skills, and different things like that. We've done workshops and trainings on that. So if people are interested in that and want that, we can definitely provide that. But there are agencies out there that's what they do.
Okay.
Louisiana Rehabilitation Service has vendors that they work with that actually provide those type of skills on a regular basis.
Okay.
Where ours may be offered here and there, that's what they do. Those vendors that they have, that's what they do. They provide that type of skill. And then our own Louisiana Works, you know, our employment that system that Louisiana has.
Mm-hmm.
You can go there and attend the workshops and trainings there that they provide. I attended one of their workshops about just exactly what you were asking, resume writing, interview skills. And it's a very, very good workshop. I went away learning something. I was glad I went because they were helpful tips and things that I learned attending a workshop that was put on by Louisiana Works.
Okay. Okay. And when you bring up people with disabilities, I think people instantly will think about people maybe wheelchair bound or people with visual or hearing problems. What other people would fall into the category of people with disabilities from a standpoint of the way you interpret it?
Disabilities could be any, it doesn't always mean that you see it because they're hidden disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
A person may be struggling with things that physically they look fine, but they may have other types of disabilities that you can't see, that they struggle with, like ADHD or some type of anxiety condition or something, a mental health concern or a mental health illness. So those are things that you might not always readily see. A learning disability, you may not always see that. So there is support and help out there for someone that has those type of disabilities, as well as people that have physical disabilities.
Right.
Yeah, an employer doesn't have to be afraid of someone that has lots of disabilities, multiple disabilities. A lot of employers may be worried about a lawsuit. I don't want to hire them. I might be sued. As an employer, you don't need to be worried about that. Chances are most people that you hire with a disability probably going to have Medicaid. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to have some kind of health insurance, through Medicaid and Medicare. And so if something happens, they're just going to rely on their Medicaid to help them. Mm-hmm. So the employer might not even need to provide health care because they may have it through Medicaid. So it's a plus, actually, I think, for an employer to hire someone with a disability because they're loyal, they're dependable, they're reliable. Our staff, most of our staff has been at families at least anywhere from 10 to 11 years or more. Mm-hmm. And we're a small agency of 9. And so our staff is very loyal and committed. There's not a high turnover rate at our office, and I thank God for that. So we're able to function.
Yes. Do you find any particular industry or any particular type of companies are more receptive to hiring people with disabilities than others?
It should be the goal of all companies to hire people with disabilities. That there shouldn't be exceptions, or you shouldn't have to say this agency or that agency or this organization or that organization hires people with disabilities. It actually should be all organizations. But when you do research, you do find that there are agencies that are known to hire people with disabilities, mm-hmm. but they also should hire the general public as well. It should be inclusive. Employment should be inclusive. It should be diverse. That Families Help Families is about inclusion. It's about diversity. We want people to belong when they are part of Families, because that's an obstacle people with disabilities face. Sometimes they just feel like they don't fit in, or they feel like there's no place for them. And then there's customized employment. Instead of maybe going to a place that's all about hiring people with disabilities and that's all they hire is people with disabilities. Well, if you have customized employment, hopefully you can go anywhere and find a job or find employment.
Okay. I briefly mentioned the American with Disabilities Act, and I'm sure you're very familiar with it. And I know that to a certain extent, employers are somewhat misinformed about it. Maybe not as much misinformed now as they were in years past. Do you still find that a challenge sometimes as you engage in clients or potential clients with their lack of understanding about the law and how critical it is and what all it entails?
Um, I guess I would think so. That there are people that maybe not understand it or just don't know about it. But we can point them to how to find resources on it. You know, we can point them to agencies and things like that. You mentioned earlier about the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs. That's one of the places that they can go to for information on the Americans with Disabilities Act. Also, I believe that you can go to your local city government. Some city governments have a person like that on staff that's familiar with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I want to say Mayor Hunter in our city is looking towards that or has got someone in place for that. I know that was something that I recently seen. So our city probably has a person that does the ADA.
Yeah. I know one of the things I found out when I was serving on the Governor's Office of Disability Affairs, and it was eye-opening for me, is that most municipalities, fines that come from people who park in disability parking spots, when they get a ticket for that, almost statewide, 80% of that fine goes to agencies, disability agencies. They don't go back to local municipalities or to the state. So that was kind of eye-opening to me. So it's kind of like, okay, if you're going to park in that space and you get a ticket, at least one positive out of it is that when you pay that ticket, it's going to a good cause. So I thought that was an eye-opening piece of information that I was able to learn just by serving on that council.
And one of the things that I would like to say here in regards to accessible parking, handicap parking, I like to call it accessible parking because it's more positive. Handicap parking seems negative.
Yeah,
so I'd like to say accessible parking.
Yes.
I have seen, in my experience and out of town, I went to a store and they had merchandise in that lane that's supposed to be used for accessible parking. And people don't realize that if they're using a wheelchair, when they put that ramp down, it comes out more. And then the wheelchair is coming down that ramp, then that wheelchair needs a space to turn around and move to be able to go into the store. And so if you're a business out there, I'd like to challenge you. Please don't put merchandise in that lane that's for accessible parking, because someone for using a wheelchair may want to visit your store and they'll just drive on by if you got stuff there in that lane because they can't get in your store because you have merchandise there. There is a place for merchandise. Put it somewhere else, not in the lane that people with disabilities need to be able to get out of their vehicle to come into your store.
Wow, that was a good piece of information because it's only somebody who was wheelchair bound wouldn't think of something like that. So I think it was good to pass that information on.
It is, and it's all over. You see that they're just not aware of the benefit of that lane. It's not just empty space. It's there to allow a wheelchair to come out of a wheelchair ramp out of a vehicle, and then they need to be able to turn around or whatever. And sometimes another car might take up that space. They may park a little too far over.
Yeah.
Well, even that's bad because you don't want if that was your car, you wouldn't want a wheelchair hitting your car.
No.
So you want to try to watch that space and keep that space free, please. It is so important to people with disabilities. And then what if they're wanting to leave? They can't get in their vehicle and they're stuck till that person comes back. So if they keep that lane open, it's just going to make it easier on them and everybody else.
That's a good point. Wow, it's beyond yourself, which I think you have an interesting story. You got any other success story you can share with the audience?
Through my experience working with families, we run across a lot of individuals that have success stories. We We also are like you, we serve on boards and commissions and different things like that, committees, where we're actually out there trying to advocate for services for people with disabilities and their family. So we see a lot of success stories that way. We attend conferences and trainings. We're constantly being trained, so we meet people at conferences that are success stories. And a friend of mine, he had a disability, and I was encouraging him. I said, look, man, there's support services out there for you to go to work. Even though you got a disability, they'll help you. And so I hooked him up. I linked him up with Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. And he went there. They helped him find, what he needed to start his own business. He's self-employed, and he started his own business, and it's now successful, even while he has a disability. He in the background, before he got injured with a back injury, he was a truck driver, an 18-wheeler. He drove an 18-wheeler, hauling things. Well, then he got his injury, and then he wasn't working, and he was depressed and at home. And he told me, he said, hey, I didn't have much of a life. He said, what was there to do? What do I have to look forward to? And he said, I met you, talking about me. And he said, you encouraged me to go apply at Louisiana Rehabilitation Services. And he said, so I did. And he said, now I have my own escort service, the wide load escort service with 18-wheelers. He started his own business doing that, providing escorts to 18-wheelers when they had an extra wide load. And he loves it. He said, now I'm working and I'm providing for my family. I got a life now.
Yeah.
And he said, he told me, he said, that saved my life. He said, that saved my family. So that's just one success story I know.
Sure.
And then I meet other individuals with disabilities that are actually working, that have more disabilities than I do. And so I know there are successful people out there. And then the students that the families that we work with through the contract that I have at Family, through the school system, we encourage the students to dream dreams, go for their dreams, seek out resources, seek out help, talk to people, so you can get in your network. Your network is your friends, your family, the people you associate with. So a lot of part of the time, the job that a person with a disability is going to find is probably going to be through their personal network of family and friends, their acquaintances, their family has. Through that, they're probably going to find someone that they know that's going to give them a chance on employment. One of our staff members had a family member with a disability. And they actually were trying to find them a job when they got out of high school. They went to Louisiana Rehabilitation Services for help, still were seeking jobs. Then they went to their community. They found something in their community, and then the people in the community knew the individual. And they said, yeah, sure, we'll hire him. And they bent over backwards to provide the things that he needs so that he could work there with his disability. And, so it happens.
Okay. Now, currently, Family Helping Families, there are how many different offices throughout the state?
We have 10 Family Help Family Centers. There's 10 regions.
Okay. And your office serves what parishes?
Southwest Louisiana area. We do Allen, Beauregard, Calcasieu, Cameron, and Jeff Davis parishes.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add about Family Helping Families as we get close to our wrap up?
All our services are free of charge to anyone. Anyone is welcome to access our center. You can access our center by calling us. Our phone number is area code 337-436-2570. We also have a website, you can go to our website. It's www.fhfswla.org. And then on our website, you can find a link to our Facebook page. You could go there, connect with us there, or on our website, or by calling us. Feel free to do so. And if you need our resources, you need our services, Families Helping Families is here.
And just briefly to recap, Wallace, just give us a brief recap of the type of services that Family Helping Families provide again.
What we're going to do is we provide like information referral, education and training, and peer support to people with disabilities and their family. So we can provide one-on-one assistance to someone if they have a disability issue or concern. We could provide peer assistance. And what I mean by that is we can try to match parents or individuals with disabilities with someone else that has another disability condition, or a parent of a child that has same type disability condition, for support and for information to help one another to learn things about their disability. So it'd be like a trained mentor parent that has a child with a disability would link up with a new parent, a parent of a newly diagnosed child with a disability, something like that. And then the experienced parent would help the new parent with information, support, to help connect them to disability resources, disability programs, things like that. So we do peer support that way. With peer support, we also link, like if you have a disability, we link you up with People First of Louisiana, which is a self-advocacy organization run by people with disabilities for people with disabilities. So we do that. And so, we do information referral, education training, and peer support. So those are our main three things that we do.
Okay. Well, look, Wallace, on behalf of the Chamber in general and our task force, our Diversity and Inclusion Task Force in particular, I want to thank you for not only participating in the symposium, but also for everything that you do throughout the year. And it was our pleasure to bring awareness to the great work you guys are doing. And we will talk later on. We'll be talking in the future. And I appreciate you for joining us.
And one little thing before I go,
Sure.
I wanted to mention about the JAM. That's the Job Accommodations Network.
Okay.
They have some good resources, available online. You can Google Job Accommodation Network, and then that's how you'll find JAM. So that's a good resource to go to.
Okay.
You also can go to Families Helping Families website, and on our website, you can click on resources and then go down to our links and find links to some of these programs that I've been talking about that might can help you with finding a job, finding employment, or what have you.
Well, as I indicated, it was my pleasure to speak to you, and your enthusiasm and it just jump off the page, and you can't fake that kind of passion. You're very passionate about what you do, and apparently it applies across the board of Family Helping Families. So best of luck, and we will be talking throughout the year.
And thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you. Take care. And also, this concludes our first. We're going to do a series of 4. The next 3 weeks, we're going to do one. It'll be every Wednesday at the same time at 10 a.m. Brought to you by the Chamber Southwest and the Economic Development Alliance, and in conjunction with the task force, Business Inclusion Task Force of the Chamber. So we will see you guys again next Wednesday at the same time, where we recognize another agency that's doing good things throughout Southwest Louisiana. So thanks for joining us, and have a good day. Thank you.